Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome to another episode of Heartslayers. You are here with the Heartslayers, Derrick Acosta and
Meg Turner.
Today, we will be answering all of your questions, solving all of your relationship problems, and doing it with a smile on our face and...
I don't know.
You blew it.
Shit.
You blew the intro. All right, let's get to the show.
spot.
All right, everybody, we're here on the phone with Pumpky. Pumpky, you're talking to Derrick and Meg, the Heartslayers. What's up?
Hello there. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit more positive, question. But I'm going to start at university this fall.
Okay.
And I'm going to do full-time studies. You know, I'm going to study a few years and then take my degree and possibly get a job, career.
All right.
But during my studies, I would also have a social life. I didn't have good luck with that in high school, and I wondered how do I approach people, in this university, in student life. Starting relations with other people.
How do you approach people in student life? So are you looking just to make friends while you're at university?
Yeah, of course, the main reason is to study and learn stuff, but I also want, some memories and experience friends, as well.
Definitely.
So, yeah. So I want to, not to be too awkward or too inviting myself. Want to make it natural and all that. So, yeah, I'm wondering, what would you recommend? Where should one go when one is a student? How do you make contacts?
Well, I always just tried to pick out the people that were in my class that I liked the most. You get to class a little bit early and you see who seems similar to yourself,
right.
Or even if you overhear people talking about stuff that is interesting to you, I just turn around and be like, "Are you guys talking about
whatever?"
And they'll be like, "Yeah, you're into that." You just try to find common ground with people. And, don't second guess yourself too much or feel like you're making it awkward on them, because when you start to think that, it becomes a self-fulfilling
prophecy.
Situation.
Yeah.
You need to have just a little bit of confidence that, you're not bothering anybody. You're not forcing yourself on them. It's just a little casual conversation now and again. And over time, you just start to become familiar with people. And then they actually look forward to you, and they'll approach you in conversation. And then maybe they'll even ask you if you want to hang out outside of class.
Yeah. And chances are that you'll have classes, multiple classes with the same people too, if you're taking a major with them. So you'll form those connections very organically because you'll only be around the same people for however many years you're in university.
Yeah. I find that if you put the idea in your head that you want something and you stay kind of happy and positive about it, I'm looking to make new friends and I'm just keeping my eyes open for anybody who I think might be, a good candidate to be friends with, you'll start picking up on moments and situations that you kind of embrace eagerly and organically.
Right.
And then, on the flip side, if mentally you're going into a situation with I don't know if I'm going to meet anybody. I don't know if I'm going to be talkative. You're probably not going to be talkative.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to meet anybody.
Yeah.
A lot of it has to come down to your own personal headspace and the way you approach the situation.
Try not to build it up in your head because then it always goes wrong. But when you do meet at least 1 to 2 people, they'll generally introduce you to even more. So your circle will expand and expand.
Yeah, once you meet one friend and they bring you to a party, suddenly you're going to make 10 friends all at once.
Totally.
So that's how it happes.
Yeah, I see. Well, yeah, it was kind of basic question, but I still feel like I had to ask, you seem kind of a bit more experienced in that area. So, yeah.
All
Sorry
right.
for being
Well,
bumbling.
we appreciate the question, and best of luck to you at your new university, Pumpkin. Okay, everybody, we are here on the phone with Luke. Luke, you're talking to Derrick and Meg, the Heartslayers. What's up?
Okay, so basically, my situation is this. I'm 26 years old. I'm living on my own, whatever. I have a good job. I have a good friend group. Things are overall pretty good. But I've never had a girlfriend, basically. And I guess in college, I've always been a pretty shy guy. But I sort of assumed whatever, you're an adult, you go out, you meet people, whatever, it'll just happen. And it hasn't for me. And I think you wouldn't necessarily know that if you knew me. Because I'm not like a super weird guy. Like I have nerdy interests, but I've got like a good friend group. I like dress decently well. I'm not some fucking weird looking guy. I'm not Tom Cruise, but whatever.
Okay.
And I don't know. I've been using dating apps for the past year and a half, just trying to meet people, but it's mostly amounted to nothing. Just because most people are nice, but nothing really blooms. There's no real connection there. And I've been trying recently to kind of just say, okay, I don't want to overthink this. I'm just gonna work on other things in my life that I want to work on, my art or whatever, just projects. But the longer life goes on, the more it's kind of it's just kicking the can down the road. It's am I just sort of losing all hope? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess I'm just any advice you guys have would be amazing because I don't know. That's basically it, I guess.
Okay, well, 26, seemed like a normal guy, good-looking guy, interesting guy, confident, definitely. Why do you think you haven't met a girl to be your girlfriend?
I think the main thing is just I'm an extremely introverted guy. Like I said, I can be very talkative and kind of a fun guy when I'm around my friends and everything, but I just don't really feel the pressure to go out in a public setting that much. I'm not someone I'll ever go to the bar or the club or whatever on my own. So I'll go to my job and I'll talk to my coworkers and stuff, and that's all fun, but I'm not going to date any of my coworkers. I'll go home, I'll do whatever, do my hobbies, and if I'm feeling social, I'll call up a friend and be like, hey, let's hang out. So there's no real place for me to interact with new people. I'm not in the local music scene or whatever a lot of my friends are. I don't have a sort of what they call a third place you can go to just meet people. And it feels both the culture has changed, and me personally, I'm not someone who's just gonna go to a cute girl and be like, hey, let's go get this. Because it's also I don't even know them. I know nothing about them besides what they look like. So I'm basically relegated myself to dating apps of various kinds.
Well,
and it's just, I don't know.
You say you're not going to date one of your coworkers. Why not?
Well, I only have 5 coworkers. There's 3 different reasons. First of all, it's just the vibe isn't there. They also all have boyfriends, and I will get fired if I do that. So it's kind of a triple threat.
Oh,
Makes
okay.
sense.
What about in your friends group? Are there any? In the past few years, have you ever had any girls enter your friends group that seemed interested in you? Just wanted to talk to you and hang out and stuff? Were maybe flirty at all?
I'm trying to think. There's been a 2 or 3 maybe that have kind of come into the group that I've sort of been interested in, but they either have kind of, I don't interact with them anymore. They've gotten, involved with someone else or whatever. I feel like there's maybe been... I had a coworker at one of my old jobs who I had a short kind of friends with benefits thing for a week kind of, but we had sort of personality. Yeah. So I've hooked up with girls before. I had I don't know.
Okay. Well, what happened there? You had the friends with benefits thing going on. Why didn't that work out?
Kind of just personality differences, I guess. See, the thing is, whenever I'm with a girl, and this has happened with dating apps too, is if I'm with a girl and maybe the first date goes well, we talk, we have a good vibe. and the more you get to know them, it sort of starts, or at least I start to realize, like, this person's just not all that fun to be around. And the way I think about it is like, well, if I'd rather just be on my own, it's like if I'm with a person on a date, say we're walking around, whatever, and I'm thinking in my head, I'd rather be at home, reading a book or doing this and that. It's like, that's probably a sign that maybe this is not going to work out. So that's situations like that have happened a few times where I basically said, you know what, it's not worth it. This person is not fun to be around,
How many dates have you been on from dating apps?
Oh, God. Probably like at least 20 by now.
And this has happened in all of them?
No, I think in most of them, most of the time there's a sense that, I don't know how if you guys have used dating apps a lot, I feel like most of my friends have, there's a sense that pretty early on you realize like, oh, even if this person's cool, we're just not really vibing. And that's how like 90% of the dates end up. The other 20% is either like, I message them, hey, I'm interested in you, or let's go on another date or whatever. And they're like, yeah, I'm not really feeling it. Or vice versa, where they'll message me and I'll say, I'm not feeling it. And there's been like 2 or 3 times where I've gone on like, multiple dates. And either, I realize you're not fun to be around, or just other things have happened that sort of make things stop working out.
Okay, so it's not like you have a problem getting dates or meeting girls.
I guess so. I mean, I haven't. Yeah, I suppose not. It's just a slow process. I'll maybe get. I'll set up maybe like 1 date a month, which is, and again, usually there's a high chance that date just amounts to nothing. So it is like, it's not. I'm not feeling hopeful, I guess you could say.
Okay. Well, I have good news for you. You're already over the hump. The hardest part is just getting the dates to begin with.
Totally.
It's kind of like, I hate to say this because it's kind of cliche, but it's a numbers game. You kind of have to roll the dice over and over again and just keep throwing shit up against the wall to find something that sticks.
That's why I asked how many dates you've been on, because it takes a lot of work to find somebody that you actually are compatible with and that you love spending time with.
Yeah.
And it's not easy.
But you know what? Everything gets easier the more you do it.
Yeah.
So
you'll be a dating master.
I think maybe your problem, if I can throw this out there, is perhaps, and I don't know why this would be the case, but perhaps you're setting your aims and your sights a little too low. Maybe maybe you're going on dates with girls that you think are within your league, to say, like, because you mentioned earlier, like, you don't like socializing, you don't like going out, and when you see a cute girl, you don't want to go up and approach her because the only thing you know is that she's cute.
Attractive, yeah.
Yeah, but maybe you should. Because if you're trying to go for these easier to accomplish situations, dating girls on dating apps or seeking out people who are already seeking a relationship, and it kind of removes that barrier of entry, and it's not working out, maybe you should just start cold approaching some people that you just find attractive, and it's going to be tough at first. It's going to be awkward. You might crash and burn a couple of times.
Let me ask you this. How long do you talk to these girls before meeting up with them for a date?
Like, again, it's always just like over the app or whatever, but it kind of depends. Because a lot of the times someone won't respond right away.
Right.
So I feel like we maybe exchange. I try to aim for exchanging like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 messages back and forth. Like, we'll just have a simple like, hey, I saw this thing in your bio. We'll like have a brief chat about some interest, and then I'll be like, hey, you seem cool. Let's go on a date or something like that.
Okay. This might be part of why you're not really connecting with people.
Yeah, totally.
Because when I was using dating apps, I would talk to people for like 1 to 2 weeks before even considering like, oh, I might want to meet up with this person. And then even then, it was probably like 3 weeks.
Yeah. Well, I think a problem that a lot of people have, especially people who call this show, is they want to go from single to meeting somebody
or boyfriend.
to being in a relationship
Yeah.
super fast. And we're always telling people that it's a little bit more organic than just flipping a switch. You kind of have to like make contact and then float away for a little bit and then float back in and make a little bit more contact and get to know this person gradually without any sort of like expectation or like sexual tension or
because chances are if you're meeting up that quickly without really having any kind of basis for what this person is like, you might hook up, but that's going to be it. So
when I say like go approach girls out in the bar that you think are cute, I'm not saying like go up and be like, hey, you want to go on a date sometime? All I'm saying is like make some conversation and let them know that you exist, basically, and have them thinking like, oh, this guy talked to me. And then later on, maybe you'll say something else to them or you'll see them again at the same place.
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you something. I used to have this friend. She was super attractive. She was a bartender. And one time she told me, she's like, I'm going to tell you what guys do that makes me so attracted to them. And I was like, all right, lay it on me. And she's like, especially when I'm working at the bar and I'm pouring drinks, guys are always coming up and hitting on me. They always want to like buy me a drink or get my number or talk to me. And I hate it.
Yeah.
What I like is the guy who kind of comes up, says hello, makes some short conversation, and then walks away and doesn't make a move. Because then I'm thinking, oh, I thought that guy was going to make a move. And suddenly she's thinking about this guy.
Yeah.
And then the guy will come back later and make a little bit more conversation, crack a joke, and then he'll float away again.
Yeah.
And she said, like, I hate when a guy lingers and tries to talk to me and tries to force me into a conversation. But I love when a guy can just like make me laugh or entertain me for a little bit. And then he just leaves. And suddenly I find myself wishing he would come back.
Yeah. It's like a tease.
Yeah. And then when he does come back, I'm really happy to see him.
Yeah.
And I think that philosophy, even though she was talking about like meeting somebody on one night, can pretty much be applied to relationships in general, like over a longer period of time.
Yeah. So if you're using these dating apps, I would definitely extend the conversation length before actually meeting up for a date.
Yeah.
And at least get to know the person at least a little bit, because then you'll know whether or not you'll have any kind of connection when you do go on a date.
Yeah. Talk a little bit, entertain them a little bit, and then disappear and make them miss you.
Yeah, because then they'll be texting you like, hey, maybe we should meet up.
Yeah, and then I, talk on the phone for a little while and kind of get to know each other, become friends before you even go on a date.
Yeah, like instead of asking to go on a date right away, you could ask for their number and then start texting them, text them for a couple weeks, and then I think you can move into the next step of meeting up.
I think this dude would kill if he got on the phone with these girls.
Yeah?
Yeah, just talking to him right now, he seems super confident and easy to talk to.
Yeah.
They would fall in love with you, man.
Yeah, I guess my one hesitation is that in my experience, if you try and play too long of a game where you're just sort of like, I'll just kind of text with you person for a bit, not really have the idea of a date on the table. I feel like a lot of the advice, and I've seen this, is that people will just stop responding. If it's like, well, is this guy, are we going to do anything or not? Because there's probably like, 10 other dudes messaging this girl.
Well, that's fine. Let them stop responding.
Yeah.
I think the secret is to make them think that you're not dying to get into a relationship.
Right.
That's the key.
Or if you're super concerned about that, you could even go as far as saying like, oh, I'm busy for the next couple weeks, but continue to text them.
Yeah, because even if you're not asking them out on a date, you could still be messaging them and engaging them and being really cool and really funny. And suddenly they'll be like, I wish this guy would ask me out on a date.
Yeah. And so by saying like, oh, I'm not available for the next couple of weeks, but like if you would want to meet up like later, whatever, it'll keep them interested.
Yeah. And what'll happen is they'll say literally this. So we going out on a date or what?
Yeah.
And then you have them for the date.
Yeah. If you want
to. Okay.
Because in that span of time, you'll learn whether or not you actually want to go on a date.
Yeah, I would just focus on making connections, not necessarily taking it to the relationship level, but making actual, sincere, really connecting with these people before you try to push it into this relationship zone.
Yeah.
Okay.
And try it in real life too,
Yeah, that's sort of, I'll let you guys go, but I had sort of one related thing, I guess, to that. You guys have been giving good advice, I think, on the kind of dating app front. But do you have any? Because like I said, I pretty much just go to work and then go home. And if I want to hang out with someone, I'll just go to their house or whatever. Do you have any advice for meeting people like in real life? Because I don't go to bars. I can't do the thing where I'll go up and chat with the bartender and then go come back next week or whatever.
Start asking your friends what they're doing, what fun things they're doing. Even if it's going to a movie, maybe you should think about going to a bar or going to a concert.
Coffee shop.
I had this friend of mine who met a girl on Tinder, and he ended up marrying her.
Yeah, I have a few friends like that, too.
And this was a few years ago when Tinder was kind of not as well accepted as it was now. And I was like, you met your wife on Tinder? And he's like, meeting somebody on Tinder is no different from meeting somebody in a bar.
Yeah.
You literally just find somebody who you think is attractive, and then you approach them for a conversation.
Yeah, it's even better because then you can only talk to them if they think you're attractive too.
Yeah, he's like, either you're looking at their picture on Tinder or you're looking at their face on the other side of the room. But either way, you have to, try to reach out to them. And I was like, I never thought about it like that. They really are very similar.
Yeah, so if you have friends that go to bars, like, why not tag along, at least give it a try?
Yeah, every once in a while.
Okay. I'll try to see what my boys are up to next time then.
Yeah, I wouldn't say hang out at a bar by yourself, obviously.
Yeah, go with friends, but put yourself out there.
Okay. Cool. Thank you for the advice, guys.
All right.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for the call. We'll catch you later. All right, everybody. We are here on the phone with Spiky Spencer. Spiky, you were talking to Meg and Derrick, the Heartslayers. What's up?
Oh my God, I got a good question for you.
All right.
Date night is important, and a good date night is the film. Now, my question to you guys is, what would be a good art house film to go on a date, to go see, pretty much?
Oh.
Well, I don't know. Like, are you going to a movie theater or are you going to rent an art house film?
Rent.
An art house film.
You are much more of an expert on this than I am.
Yeah, I don't know. You just find something that's good. Just something that you think is going to be good.
Yeah, because even if it's not like critically good, it could still be really good. Like if it's so bad that it's good.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes art house films are a dud because they can be like depressing. But the worst thing is just when they're bad and boring and the movie sucks.
Yeah, totally.
But I don't know. Okay, here's what I will recommend. Nothing with like serial killers.
No.
Oh, of course not.
How do you feel about subtitles?
I don't mind subtitles.
Yeah. Do you want to read on your date?
I have no problem with
Yeah,
subtitles.
no, that's fine. I know some people hate them.
I actually got a good suggestion for anyone.
Okay, what's your suggestion?
The Adam Sandler film Punch Drunk Love.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah,
Even though it's an Adam Sandler film, it's a really good one.
it's true.
I mean, it's directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, so it's technically a Paul Thomas Anderson film.
Yeah, I wouldn't even consider that art house necessarily. I feel like that movie's pretty mainstream.
Yeah.
It's art house for, Adam Sandler fans, so,
I guess so. Yeah, very true. Okay. Punch Drunk Love. I'm going to go with that. I think that's a
Sure.
good one. I think you should stick with that.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, everybody. We are here on the line with Frenchie. Frenchie, you're talking to Meg and Derrick, the Heartslayers. What's up?
Hi, Meg. Hi, Derrick. So my concern, to say it as succinctly as possible, I'm going to try to give context as quickly as possible. I was once upon a time engaged. That ended sometime last year, and I'm figuring out that the big baggage that I carry from this that has crept into my two relationships since, the second of those still going on, is that I have a great impatience. Like I want for something more. Like I feel like I should already be back at that place that I was with my ex-fiance. And, most people, that relationship lasted for 3 years, and most people just aren't, trying to move that fast. In early 20s is about my age. and so I guess I'm just wondering how I can be okay. Yeah, tips for being okay moving at a slower pace.
Okay. You were engaged. You were together with that person for 3 years. Can I ask why the engagement was called off? Was there an event that happened, or?
Oh yeah. I've had a lot of time to reckon with it. I was I was unfaithful. We had a roommate situation with someone who's someone who was a borderline alcoholic. It was another couple, our friends at the time. She was drunk one night. I was drunk because of, reasons people get drunk by themselves. And that happened. And that wasn't, that was the beginning of the end. It sounded the death knell for that relationship. So that's kind of what I'm moving forward with. And I've had a whole lot of time to reckon that. And that's not, I'm totally over that person. They're not a part of my life anymore, but I'm realizing, just like the initial thing that I said, the one big thing that I feel like is like, man, I want something serious, enduring, long lasting, the promise of forever, right? But, it takes time to get to that point, and time is all I have. Time is what I'm willing to give people. But I find myself reaching junctures where I'm like, okay, this person isn't, like, why can we get that picket fence, right about now?
So
it's been a week or so.
So you were the one who was unfaithful in the past relationship. So it's usually that's the opposite of what we hear on this show.
Yeah, right.
Do you find that do you ever consider that you're trying to replace the old relationship with a new one? Is that what this situation is? Like you miss being engaged. You want to kind of get back to where you were, and do you think that's what's going on here?
I've had time to reckon with that possibility as well. Am I trying to, and I have phrased the question to myself in such a way, am I trying to recreate this life that I had with this other person?
Yeah.
Am I actually interested in them, or do I just see an opportunity to not be in pain, to be loved, to be cared for, yada yada, affection, all that you get from a partner? And I've concluded that no, that's not what I want. I made sure to do that work for myself. Like, you are not going to, I heard this on a podcast once, Andrew Zimmern said it, Hilarious World of Depression, maybe you've heard of it. But he said, trauma that's not transformed is transmitted. And I tried hard to make sure that I was in a place to not transmit my traumas to the other people that I was going to, whomever I would eventually involve in my life. So that's not quite it.
Let me ask
what
you.
It is.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. What it is, though, is I feel just that not that specific situation. Like, I'm not trying to replace my ex-fiance. That was just a situation that I liked being in, and I would not mind. I would like to be there again with someone else whom I've chosen similarly. But go ahead.
How long ago did the engagement end? When did that relationship end?
That was October of last year. So we're coming up. If I can do math, and my record in school shows that I can't. But that's about half a year ago.
6-7 months. And you had 2 relationships since then in the 6 or 7 months that have passed?
Fun thing, there's some tea with that there too, if you'd be interested. I don't want to bloat this.
What?
Okay, so I met a woman who was in one of my classes in January. but that was only the first time I'd met her. We really only started talking when we worked on a group project together toward the end of February. I talked with her for a month, dated her very briefly before and it, wasn't serious, but I wanted it to be, of course. This is I've established myself this kind of person. But I fell for someone again, outside of my relationship. What I'm saying to you right now is that I suppose I have a pattern of behavior. However comparable these two incidences are. Long story short, I broke up with the first girl, and now I'm clawing my way up the mountain with the second one, the woman who I fell for while I was dating the first.
Oh, wow. I do see a pattern here.
Yeah.
But, I'm not going to make any calls on that.
Yeah.
But, well, what I do think is interesting is, I don't think enough time has really passed for you to completely be over the engagement. If you were with that person for 3 years, you haven't even, spent half of that time away from that person. So it would make sense to me if the emotional wounds are still a little fresh, even if you may not realize it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what I've come to realize is that I don't know what I thought. I don't know what I thought heartbreak would feel like, because that was my first serious relationship, and I was thoroughly convinced. I got down on one knee. I thought it was going to be my last. What I thought would happen is that I would have this great big revelatory moment. Everything would come out, and I would realize everything that I had learned, everything that that would stay with me for years to come about that experience. And that's not how it works. It's kind of like you're going down a path, and occasionally you'll trip over a stone, and you'll realize, oh, that's from that thing way back there. Jesus Christ. And this is one of those things. There are many others that I've realized, baggage, I will call it.
Well, just to get back to your original question, how do you slow things down and take some time?
Yeah.
First of all, what I will say, if I were you, I would not be in a rush to jump back into a serious relationship.
That's what I was thinking.
Just based on what happened in October and what happened with the girl you met in January, it would seem like you would be setting yourself up for bad things to happen once again if you were just rushing into a serious relationship. You might find that once you're in that serious relationship, you suddenly want to get out of it.
Something else might catch your eye.
Yeah, and maybe you should keep yourself in a situation where it's okay for you to potentially meet new people, you know? Instead of rushing to become serious, just enjoy the options of, I have this relationship, I'm with this girl right now, things are going good, but we're not too serious to the point where I have to feel guilty if I suddenly meet a new girl who interests me.
Right, because you said that you're in your early 20s. What's the rush?
Yeah, exactly. What's the rush? And I will add to this, if you're looking for longevity, it's every day that you continue to be in this relationship and not have it collapse on you and not fuck it up, you're adding to your longevity. It's not something that you're going to feel satisfied with before it happens. It's after you've had a long relationship, you can look back and say, wow, I really care about this person. We've actually been together a long time. And then you have that revelatory moment of, holy shit, I have a really good, strong, long-lasting relationship here. It's not something that you can plan for or necessarily anticipate before it happens.
Yeah, like the first thing that popped into my head when you asked your question was just take it day by day. Make every day special, cherish every day, and just nurture your relationship.
Yeah. And I will say, the average age of marriage is 27. So you don't need to, if you're in your early 20s, you would be premature to get married anyways, just going by the averages.
Yeah, that's That's great, solid advice. I like the pursuit of mindfulness, let's call it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing your story with us.
Yeah, thank you.
And we wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
All right, everybody, we are here on the line with Jello. Jello, you're talking to Meg and Derrick. The Heartslayers, what's up?
Hello, Derrick. Hello, Meg. Hope you're having a nice evening.
Yeah.
I just want to say I have a broad sort of question. I was wondering what you guys thought about an idea I kick around sometimes, that we are now living in a romanceless era. That kind of the spontaneous humans interacting with each other. You know, I was at the shopping mart. This guy saw the same bananas I was picking up, and we just started chatting. Like, that kind of stuff is dead, and it's kind of been replaced with false formality, like dating apps and stuff like that, where it's very like rigid dating stuff. Maybe you'll meet a person through your friend, but usually it's through these things. I just wanted to get your guys' idea on that sort of stuff.
The idea that we are living in the era of no romance. No
Romanceless
mance,
era.
if you will. A romanceless era. I don't think I agree with that.
I think it's all about the romance that you make. Or, I don't know.
I don't think romance is dead.
I don't either.
I think, first of all, you have to define what romance is to you.
Right.
According to Jello, it's, small conversation
Over some bananas.
But no, I think that romance is, can be found whenever you find two people who are in love and do nice things for one another when they think of each other.
Yeah.
And they think of pleasing the other person, and they go out of their way to do something nice for that person. That's romantic.
Right. I don't think it's like, maybe it's not so much like 1950s romance. Like, oh, we met, like you said, at the grocery store over some bananas.
But I do think that happens.
Totally. Maybe just not as commonly as it used to.
What I will say, to throw Jello a bone here and talk to his point,
Sure.
two things.
Okay.
I think that pop culture has brainwashed people into having really bad expectations of what a relationship should be, and especially how relationships should get started.
100%.
People basically watch movies and they think they literally think their life is like a movie.
Yeah.
And life is not like a movie. Movie's over in 2 hours and your life has to go on for 70 years or however long. And it's just, it may seem like a movie at certain times, but most of the time it doesn't.
Yeah.
Movie never shows you when you're sleeping or shitting. There's a lot that goes on in life that would never go in a movie.
That's true.
And so many people kind of judge their life and how it's going based on these movies and TV shows that they've seen. So that kind of confuses people. And then I think that technology has made life so convenient that people expect their romance to be convenient too. Mm-hmm. And maybe that speaks to this romanceless era that you're talking about, Jello, where people just kind of want to have this instant,
instant connections, instant relationship. No effort. It's effortless.
Like putting romance in the microwave and hitting cook and, suddenly ooh, it's hot and spicy.
Yeah, totally.
They kind of don't get to know, put the effort into getting to know somebody and becoming friends with them. Mm-hmm. And when I say getting to know somebody, I mean really getting to know them. What makes this person happy? What's their favorite food? What's their favorite color? What's their favorite holiday? What's their favorite day of the week? It's not just oh, here's their name, here's their phone number, here's their, where their bed is, and we're gonna hop in there and do it. But really kind of getting to know the soul of a person, just the innocent stuff.
Yeah, I think the whole dating app thing, it just lends itself to, you have so many options.
Yeah,
that it kind of kills the romance in that sense.
Yeah, but I think romance is not something you can find in another person. It's something you find within yourself.
Yeah.
you can make a situation romantic.
Like I said, it's the romance that you create.
Yeah, totally. I think specifically learning that stuff is romantic. When you're getting to know somebody that you have a crush on and you're asking them stupid stuff. What's your favorite food?
Yeah, no, like when I was first getting to know my boyfriend, we're in a long distance relationship. And we spent the first month of our relationship getting to know each other because we couldn't hang out.
Yeah.
He lives in a different state, and like he learned my favorite flower, and I got home from a convention and my favorite flowers were waiting for me. Like,
oh, that's romantic. Yeah. You find their favorite animal and then you find a stuffed animal, love that, and then you give it to them. That's romantic. It's having this personal knowledge of what makes them happy and then going out of your way without them asking to use that knowledge to make them happy. That's romantic. And people can do that, but maybe they just don't think of it.
Right.
But the ones who do find all the love,
Yeah, I think maybe there's not instant romance, if that's what you're talking about, like chatting over the bananas. Maybe there's not an instant like romantic moment, like you touched hands when you're grabbing bananas or whatever.
Well, again, I think that's like movie romance.
Absolutely.
I was about to say that too. Like maybe you have such a canvas of romance painted all around us, like in so many different ways that you just kind of formulate the one that you think is good until you're actually experiencing the romance yourself, and then you like actually get a wholesome, actual, real world view of it. But I see a lot of people get hung up on, I'll never date a chick who smokes weed, dude. Like, just I can't deal with that. And it's like, you got to understand that people are way more complex than whatever they put in their mouths or whatever they put in their microwaves. But
yeah,
that's the stuff
if they don't want to date a chick that smokes weed, that's fine. Know what you want out of a relationship.
Yeah.
There's plenty of dudes out there that will date a chick that smokes weed, and they'll be super romantic. They'll roll a joint that looks like a heart, and they'll smoke it together.
Totally.
And they'll have a great weed romance.
Yeah, happy birthday! I got you some weed.
Yeah, so I think if you're at the banana section of the store and you're there a couple times a week and you keep seeing the same person around the bananas, you can strike up a conversation. There could still be a banana romance
Bag
out
up
there.
the bananas for them.
But it takes a little bit of effort, and it takes a little bit of putting yourself out there and making yourself vulnerable. And I think that's the main thing that people don't want to do is they don't want to allow themselves to be vulnerable because they're afraid of embarrassing themselves or whatever. They have a lot. They're afraid of coming off the wrong way and being labeled like a creep.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fear involved that stops people from pursuing things that would make them happy. And
right. And if like the romance doesn't land, then hey, that's on them. They missed their opportunity.
Yeah, totally. What do you think about that, Jello?
I think that's just the right amount of optimism that we need in this now and day and era. So now I'm sorry, I'm not trying to sound sarcastic. No, I need optimism's good for that stuff because I know a lot of people are very pessimistic about relationships nowadays. So
totally.
No, that was a good viewpoint of that. I thank you both a lot.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Jello. Really appreciate it. All right, everybody, we are on the phone here with Tanya. We spoke to Tanya a few weeks ago in one of our episodes that got deleted by our computer. Tanya, why don't you let everybody at home know what your situation was and what our advice to you about it was?
Okay, so a couple weeks ago, my boyfriend broke up with me out of the blue. It was pretty much just I'm feeling very overwhelmed and I'm just not feeling happy, not because of us or anything, just because I have been unhappy for a long time. And as of right now, I need to break up kind of thing. And at the time, I called probably a week and a half after all of that went down. And you guys basically told me it's, as long as you're moving forward, just think about what you want, but also just take care of yourself and, keep working on yourself and, focusing on that. And it's basically too early to tell what can or can't happen, pretty much. And by that point, he had contacted me once about some dumb bullshit, whatever. So it didn't really mean anything. And that was like a few days after he broke it off. And I replied to it being like, okay, whatever. He was creeping on my social media. But anyway, he contacted me twice since then. One time it was on a Sunday last weekend, I guess. And it was something mundane. I just didn't reply. And just a few days ago, like last Thursday, he messaged me and he apologized. He said, hey, sorry for how I spoke to you before in previous texts. Like, who am I to tell you what to do or not, you know? And I hope I didn't like ruin your day with how I messaged you then. And then he unblocked me on everything. So, yeah, that was pretty much the update, I guess. Through all this, I kind of, you know, initially I was just obviously heartbroken and just realizing like, okay, well, this isn't my fault or have anything to do with me, but at the same time, he broke things off and I don't really get it. I feel like he doesn't understand what he's doing, and lo and behold, he doesn't really know what he's doing. And, you know, I obviously want us to be able to talk again and reconcile if he actually is taking the steps to do what he needs to do, which it feels like he is. But I wanted to know what you guys thought first, I guess.
So, okay, yeah, your boyfriend broke up with you. He had personal reasons to do it. It wasn't necessarily your fault. He blocked you on all social media. Then he was sending you text messages that were like rude and like, are you following me? Blah, blah. And then he unblocks you and I'm sorry I talked to you like that. And
yeah, he kind of like he apologized and unblocked me in one day, and I replied to that yesterday, very short and to the point. I didn't really say anything else. It just, you know, I didn't really try and sound apologetic or anything. I just kind of replied for the sake of, you know, showing that I'm not like I'm there, but not really.
Right.
At this point, you guys have been broken up for what, like 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay. How are you feeling, Tanya, about being single now? Are you starting to get used to it, or?
I mean, I've more or less gotten used to it. Like I know my life's never felt like it was over or anything. And the entire time my instinct was telling me like he'll probably reach out again, and I don't know why, but he probably will. But before, I didn't really believe it, you know, grieving and going through all that. And now I feel like he's trying to steadily like essentially reach out to me again, or prepping for that is what it feels like. And I'm pretty much not about playing games or anything, you know. I'm not interested in that. And that's why I stopped even replying to anything he was saying until yesterday. And people have thrown themselves at me, weirdly enough, and I don't want that at all. It's nice, I guess, but you know, I know that there are other people out there. I'm not the type of person that believes in like there's only one soulmate or something like that. But I also realize like I would still like just to try and see how a conversation can go, because there was a lot that we didn't talk about because he decided on himself, you know, by himself. But
yeah,
I also feel like it was kind of necessary, because I realized in this time that I was not focusing on myself enough because I was stressed out from work, and I work from home, which is great. But, you know, I kind of turned into a little bit of a hermit, and it wasn't because of him or anything else. It was just because of my own personal stuff, you know, and I kind of came out of my shell where I've been hanging out with friends and having a good time. And I feel like that's partially why he felt like, oh, like she's not being, you know, I'm not begging or pleading, and because why would I, you know?
So you kind of want to have a conversation to get some closure on the relationship, maybe?
Yeah, closure, or like to see where we can go from there, because I don't really want to step back into the same relationship, you know, like with him. But I'm obviously open, and I would like what I would want is to talk things through and realize like you don't have to necessarily be alone to like deal with your independent stuff. You're still more than, you're welcome to do that while with someone or not. Up to him, of course, but that's kind of where I'm at.
So I'm confused if you want to get back together with your ex-boyfriend or not.
I do. I'm just being cautious, I guess, because,
okay.
like, I definitely want that, but, it's a matter of I don't know exactly what he's thinking, but, I don't know. He made this choice, and he's clearly not happy about it.
Yeah.
And it's not because of that I want him back or something. It's just because I love him, and we worked really well together.
If you were to get back together, would you be concerned that he would do this again?
Yeah.
Depending.
I would be.
Same.
I would be concerned, and that I feel like I would only know for sure if I would try again based on us trying to talk it through, kind of thing.
Well, at this point, not to cut you off, I'm sorry, but do you think he wants to get back together with you? Is that why he's messaging you, or is this more just wants to stay in contact because just wants to have some familiar contact with you?
It feels like the first. Like I thought about it, like, is he just trying to reach out just cause? But when I really think about it, he's reached out to me each week since we've been broken up, and the only meaningful contact was just a few days ago where he was, actually apologetic for at least, some of his actions or whatever. It like my instincts are telling me like he wants something, but it's just a matter of like waiting almost.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I think that might just be the situation that you're in. I don't know if I even have advice for you or take on the situation. If you want to be with him still and you get the impression that he wants to be with you, but he has to work through his issues, then you might just have to wait for him to do that.
Yeah.
And time may be the best thing for the two of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I also know that like I'm ready to talk, but at the same time, I'm not ready for, like, if he's not, I'm not going to be willing to talk. Like there's a part of me in the past that would like be extra pushy and be maybe calling him a bunch of times or whatever. I obviously know not to do that, but it would just be a mutual thing. I would be concerned, and right now I am concerned, like, if he would just do that again, but at the same time, like, because the breakup also ended up helping me, I feel like it just feels very different somehow. I don't know how to explain it beyond that. It's just weird. Like, my instinct is telling me something, and I'm trying to just trust that because it hasn't been wrong despite everything. So
that woman's intuition.
Yeah.
It's never wrong.
Yeah. It's that's
I
what
would,
it feels like.
You know what? I would just enjoy being single, you have all these other guys throwing themselves at you. Try to just not, let that bother you. Just enjoy being single. Your boyfriend's going to come crawling back to you eventually.
Yeah, when he wants to have that conversation and then have that conversation, but I wouldn't push it.
Yeah, I wouldn't push it. When he does eventually come crawling back to you, then you can be completely honest and open with him, and you let him know, like, hey, I would like to be in a relationship with you again, but obviously I don't want to go back to the same one we had, and we broke up so that you could work on some stuff and change, and you're going to have to show me that you've accomplished that before I'm ready to give this another shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much that. I had something I was going to say, but it just, and I guess the social media shit, like, it bothered me for 2 seconds in the beginning, but it doesn't matter to me. And based on the kind of person he is, I just feel like, as dumb as it is, because this is dumb, I really find it stupid. But just the fact that he decided to reach back out to me and really apologize for some things, and then decide to like basically see my face on social media again, I feel like that's like prepping for that, like showing that he wants to talk, but he's not ready to, clearly. And yeah.
Yeah, you know, with these on again, off again relationships, they don't really start to progress until you guys can move past talking about the bad thing that happened in the past.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like I'm at this point where, and the reason why I feel like it can, the only reason I feel like it can work is that I've let go of the fact that, I mean, he broke my heart. Yeah, I get that, but because it helped me and everything, I would be willing to like put that in the past where it belongs, you know, however it works out, but with him, you know.
yeah, it's always tough. With on again, off again relationships, I feel like most of the time, the stuff that went wrong in the relationship the first time will usually come back again sooner or later.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
It kind of falls into a cycle. So
Yeah, and especially with his depression and stuff, that's not something that's just going to disappear. So
Yeah.
it
Like,
really takes a long time for people to change, if
Mm-hmm.
they even can change at all. So
Yeah.
I
But
would, you know, really embrace just the time apart for as long as as long as you guys need it.
yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm trying to do. But yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for the call. Thanks for the update, and you know,
Yeah.
let us know if there's any more developments.
I will.
right.
Thank you so much for taking my call.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling. Okay, everybody, that's our show for today. We want to give a big thank you to everybody who called us. Hey, if you want to give us a call, we are taking new calls every Monday at 4 p.m. at bit.ly/Heartslayers. You can also email us a short email at heartslayers@mega64.com.
Emphasis on short, please.
Yeah, the short ones get read first.
Yeah.
And the long ones, you know, sometimes
read 'em,
we
but
read them, but not on the show. Exactly. Hey, if you want to follow us in our personal lives and see what we're up to, you can follow us on social media. I am on Twitter at Gustafo and on Instagram at Derrick Acosta only.
And I'm at Furnace Woods on both.
And of course, you can follow Heartslayers on all social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Just look up Heartslayers. Big thank you to everybody who supports us on Patreon, patreon.com/Mega64. For just $1, you get early access to all the Heartslayers episodes. And as always, if you have your own take on any of the situations you heard on this episode today, feel free to leave a comment in our comment section on YouTube. We appreciate all the little Heartslayers chiming in with their take on any of the issues.
Yeah.
What else is there to say?
We're on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn.
Look us up wherever you get your podcasts. We will be back in 1 week to handle more of your situations. So until then, take care of yourselves. We are the Heartslayers. I'm Derrick.
I'm Meg.
We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.